What if the most devastating epidemic in American history was happening right in front of our eyes and powerful institutions were deliberately hiding it? Well, tonight we reveal shocking new statistics about America's exploding autism rates that the pharmaceutical establishment doesn't want you to see. Numbers so alarming, so catastrophic, they could upend everything we've been told about modern medicine. But that's just the beginning. RFK Jr. has just made an announcement that has Washington power brokers in absolute panic. The documents he's threatening to release could expose decades of what some are calling the most widespread medical cover-up in human history. Who's behind it? And what's really in our food, and our water, and our medicine? Tonight, we reveal it. And while we fight for health freedom nationally, you do deserve personal freedom from pain. Before taking another painkiller for your aching joints, you need to know about this turmeric breakthrough. A leading pain specialist discovered a turmeric extract 200 times more powerful than standard versions, attacking inflammation at its source. Now, this formula works like flipping off a pain light switch without injections or expensive treatments. It's especially powerful for those suffering from chronic pain conditions developed after years of environmental toxin exposure, the very issues RFK Jr. is now investigating. The evidence is compelling. So watch the free video at goldenrevive.com/NNN and reclaim your mobility naturally. It's linked below. So we got some bombshell breaking news. The globalists are panicking as Trump's HHS Secretary RFK Jr. officially declares war on Big Pharma and the toxic food industry. He's onto the autism epidemic, causing our children to be poisoned at record rates. The Great Awakening is finally here. So let's dive in. So the deep state, of course, doesn't want you to know Americans' children are being destroyed by design. Autism rates now 1 in 31 children, up from 1 in 36 just 2 years ago. And for boys, a terrifying 1 in 20 in California, 1 in 12 and a half boys. This is eugenics-level chemical warfare. Listen to RFK.
The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking. There's an extreme risk for boys. Overall, the risk for boys of getting an autism diagnosis in this country is now 1 in 20. And as high in California, which has the best data collection. So it probably also reflects the national trend, 1 in 12.5 boys. This is part of an unrelenting upward trend. The prevalence 2 years ago was 1 in 36. Since the first ADDM report in 1990, which was 1992 births, autism has increased by a factor of 4.8. That's 480%, I believe. The first ADDM survey was 22 years ago when prevalence was 1 in 150 children. In all the core states, the trend is consistently upward, and most cases now are severe. So about 25% of the kids who are diagnosed with autism are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, and have other stereotypical features, head banging, tactile and light sensitivities, stimming, toe walking, etc.
But the truth that they've been hiding. In the 1960s, researchers tracked 30,000 children with 9 separate screenings for every developmental disorder. Did you know that? They found just 14 cases of autism. That's 4.7 per 10,000. The epidemic isn't better diagnosis, it's chemical poisoning.
Collaborative. Between 1959 and 1965, researchers from 14 hospitals associated with major universities undertook the National Collaborative Perinatal Project, tracking 30,000 children from birth to age 8. This was no half-baked survey-based analysis. The study conducted 9 separate screenings covering neurology, psychology, speech, language, hearing, and visual function. Every developmental quirk, anomaly, and disorder was logged with painstaking detail. Autism, a condition characterized by profound impairments in social communication and behavior, would have stood out like a neon sign. There were 14 cases. That's 4.7 per 10,000. So we know what the historic numbers are, and we know what the numbers are today. And it's time for everybody to stop attributing this to this ideology of epidemic denial.
Epidemic denial, that's what's going on. But President Trump knows. In a historic cabinet meeting, Trump said, think of that. It was 1 in 10,000 children that had autism. Now it's 1 in 31. Check. This is a clip from that cabinet meeting recently.
What has caused it. And we are going, at your direction, we are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
So big. Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer, where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000 to. Can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby.
But listen up, the autism crisis is 1,000 times more threatening than COVID ever was. 25% of diagnosed kids are nonverbal, non-toilet trained, with head banging and light sensitivities. The globalist poisoners have waged war on our children while laughing at our suffering. Here is what RFK posted today. The autism epidemic has now reached a scale unprecedented in human history because it affects the young. The risks and costs of this crisis are 1,000 times more threatening to our country than COVID-19. Autism is preventable, and it is unforgivable that we have not yet identified the underlying causes. We should have had these answers 20 years ago. And RFK just blew the lid off it all. It was an HHS press conference. New CDC data confirms autism up to 1 in 31 children nationwide. He's demanding real-time data instead of waiting 2 years like the deep state wants. The cover-up is imploding before our eyes. Here's a couple still photographs from that press conference that RFK Jr. held. History being made right there before our eyes. Now, the takedown has begun. RFK Jr. announces new studies to identify the environmental toxins causing autism. In just 2 to 3 weeks, he's going after the chemical poisoners who've been destroying our children for decades, and Big Pharma is shaking in their boots. Listen.
And within 3 weeks, and probably we're hoping in 2 weeks, we're going to announce a series of new studies to identify precisely what the environmental toxins are that are causing it. This has not been done before, and we're going to do it in a thorough and comprehensive way, and we're going to get back to with an answer to the American people very, very quickly. And within 3 weeks.
And what everybody is asking for, chemtrails exposed. HHS is finally assembling a team to investigate the aerial spraying program they've denied for decades. Nicole Shanahan confirms the investigation. Cloud seeding contracts exist across America. The sky poisoning operation is about to be blown wide open. Check this out, folks.
To bring creatively. And I do know that HHS is in the process of putting together a team to investigate this. Much is unknown. Some is known. We do know that cloud seeding does exist. We do know that counties throughout the United States have active contracts with private companies to cloud seed and thus bring greater moisture to arid lands. And and this is all done under the umbrella of climate change mitigation. And so what we don't know and what HHS wants to figure out is the full spectrum of these activities and whether there is a fundamental missing regulatory body looking into harmful impacts of these practices. And
so it's happening. And the pharmaceutical cartel is collapsing. RFK Jr. dropping some truth bombs. Pharmaceutical drugs are the third biggest killer of Americans. Now he's realigning the entire medical establishment to serve the people and not the globalist profits. The medical deep state's in full panic mode. Listen.
Extraordinary.
If you could change one thing about...
Now I should point out this is on CBS News of all outlets.
If you could change one thing about the pharmaceutical industry, what would it be?
I think what we need to do is to realign our incentives in this country at this point. Pharmaceutical drugs are the third biggest killer of Americans. And so pharma has given us extraordinary inventions and extraordinary medical treatments. But the profit orientation of the industry has sometimes given us also perverse outcomes, and outcomes that, we need to do everything that we can to guard against. And what we are trying to do, our overall objective, is to realign the incentives for the industry, for hospitals, for the entire medical establishment with our public needs, which is to make America healthier again.
If you could...
And he's also restructuring the food pyramid, a new one to replace the corporate-controlled poison guide that's been killing Americans for generations. The nutrition awakening is here, and the deep state food controllers are scrambling as their system collapses. What is the old food pyramid? Fats and oils used sparingly. Milk, cheese, and yogurt, 2 to 3 servings. Meat, poultry, fish, and dairy, 2 to 3 servings. Fruit group. But load up on bread and cereal. Yeah, that's going to change. And he met with big food companies, RFK Jr., and laid down the law. Toxic food dyes must be gone in 2 years. These chemical weapons cause cancer and neurological disease. They use vegetable dyes in Europe, but poison American children. The food cartel has now been placed on notice. Listen.
One of the first groups I met with after I was sworn in were the big food companies, all of the major food processors and producers in this country.
How'd that go?
And it went very well. And I think they're at the point where they see the writing on the wall. And, one of the things I said is that the food dyes are kind of the most egregious because they don't use them in any other country. They're clearly associated with a variety, a grim inventory of diseases, including cancers and behavioral diseases, neurological diseases like ADHD. And it's very, very well documented. And they're making, in many cases, the same products in this country that have those dyes, and then they use vegetable dyes in Canada, Mexico, and Europe.
So can't you say to them, hey, we want the stuff you're making there?
Yeah, that's what I said to them. And I said they all have to be out within 2 years. One of the first groups I met with...
All of them out in 2 years. Making America healthy again. The Maha Revolution spreading like wildfire across the states. Indiana just passed 9 executive orders to restore health freedom. Governor Braun says you're setting the stage federally, and we will be your best ally at the state level. Check this out.
I've been to a bunch of states to announce Maha initiatives over the past 3 or 4 weeks. This one really broke the bank.
Today's 9 executive orders reflect a new approach to health policy in the state of Indiana, focused on empowering everyone to live a healthier, happier, longer life. And today is where we begin.
9 executive orders, all designed to improve our farms, our fitness, our food, our education, our health.
These executive orders make it easy for moms to do the right thing for their kids.
President Trump, he often says that he wants to make America strong again. But we can't be a strong nation if we're not a strong people.
We have a generational opportunity to make this country as healthy as it should be.
You're setting the stage at the federal level. We're going to be your best ally at the state level.
We will make this great nation healthy again.
So thank you very, very much. Thank you all very much.
How cool is that, man? That's in Indiana. And the battle for our children rages also in Arizona. Brave legislators passed bills to remove soda from government programs and ban ultra-processed foods in schools. RFK Jr. says what we're doing to our children is criminal.
Health of the people. What we're doing to our children is criminal. We are now the sickest country in the world. And I'm very proud of these legislators and senators for standing up for the health of the people of Arizona. And again, I want to thank President Trump. President Trump has promised to make America great again, and that means he has to make us strong. And we cannot be a strong nation if we do not have a strong people. He's promised to restore to the American public the promise of the American dream. That a healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. And we have 60% of the people in this country today who only have one dream. And that's that they can make it through the day without discomfort, that they can survive to see their children grow. And we need to take care of these little ones. It is our obligation. It is the obligation of every member of this elected body. And let's call them to task when they don't do the obvious thing. This is easy. It's a no-brainer. And I'm very grateful to these legislators and very, very grateful to President Trump for allowing this to happen.
Inside the beast, RFK Jr. and Commissioner McCary stormed the FDA headquarters. Did you hear about this? Kennedy told employees to reimagine their roles and lead with courage and think boldly. The corrupt pharma approval machines being dismantled from within. The health revolution is unstoppable. Watch.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary. I'm here with Commissioner Marty McCary of FDA, and I got a wonderful tour of this facility today. I saw some of the high level of innovation.
The simulation of an aortic valve.
And it's all patient-oriented, or all outcome-oriented, and for me, it was a really exciting day.
If you walk forward, please.
We spent the day learning about the tools and models and AI and software and the great work of the career scientists here at the FDA to support inventors and developers and those who are discovering things on the edge of science.
So everything in here is a technology that we call additive manufacturing.
It's important for me to get out here and to meet the scientists, to meet the administrators, to understand the needs of this agency and what I can do as secretary to empower them to do their job of protecting the American patient.
Produced by
The best job I've ever had, he said. RFK Jr. reveling in his position to destroy the health cartels from inside the government. More from his CBS News interview.
You've been a rabble-rouser your whole life. From the outside, what's it like to be on the inside now?
It's good. I mean, it's the best job I've ever had. I look forward to going to work every day. I'm working with immensely talented people. And, as you probably know, the greatest joy of going to work every day is if you are mission-oriented and you're working with exceptional people. And, I have that privilege.
You've been...
And did you hear about this? Time magazine has named RFK Jr. one of the 100 most influential people of 2025, and the mainstream media can't ignore his unstoppable crusade to save America's children. Even the globalist publications must acknowledge his power because Maha is winning. Time's most influential people. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person has only one. RFK Jr. Amazing quote. This is the battle for America's soul. We cannot be a strong nation without strong people, and the corrupt food and pharma cartels are crumbling. The American rebirth has begun. It's time to stand with us.
We're going to do is overall the autism is increasing in prevalence at an alarming rate. The study tests 8-year-olds who were born in 2014. And by the way, these studies are 2 years later than they should be. One of the things that we're going to do as we move this function to the Administration for a Healthy America, to the Chronic Disease Division, the new Chronic Disease Division, is we are going to have updated real-time data so that people can look at this, so Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time, and not have to wait 2 years to react. We don't wait 2 years to react to a measles epidemic, and we should not, or any kind of infectious disease. We shouldn't have to do that for diabetes or autism.
So this is it. The great health awakening is here. Trump and RFK Jr. dismantling the poisoners' system piece by piece. The autism epidemic will be solved. Food dyes banned and our children saved from the chemical assault. Join the revolution now and follow the Next News Network. There's me in the White House press briefing room. So we have just witnessed the beginning of what could be the greatest health revolution in American history. RFK Jr. has exposed the shocking autism epidemic, rising from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 31 children nationwide, with boys in California at a staggering 1 in 12.5 rate. But he's not stopping there. We've learned he is now launching rapid response studies into environmental toxins, creating a new food pyramid to replace corporate-controlled guidelines demanding removal of dangerous food dyes banned in Europe but permitted here, and even investigating aerial spraying programs long denied by previous administrations. The pharmaceutical and food industries are in panic mode as Kennedy, once dismissed as a conspiracy theorist, now wields legitimate power within the system. His mission is clear: identify the causes of America's chronic disease epidemic and restore health freedom to a generation of sick Americans. The great health awakening has begun, and you can support our efforts to promote it by going to the Next News Network merch shop. It's linked below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.